Okay, so here we're going to be picking up our X, Y, and Z for the part. As we know from our programming in there, we set it at our back left corner of our material. So we're going to touch off our X, Y, Z on that corner. Now, on this machine to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to go into our MDI mode here. In MDI, we're going to type in S2000 to give our spindle an RPM, and we're going to do M3, which is the code that turns our spindle on in the clockwise direction. So when we have that typed in there,
how do we type that in?
So we go S2000 M3, and then we can hit either insert or alter. Now you're going to see it's going to, if I do insert, it's going to put it in there twice. So we're just going to have to delete the codes that we don't want or erase the program prior to that. But we have our S2000 M3, we're ready to go. We hit our cycle start, and you're going to see our spindle start turning. So now, through using our handle jog, we have 4 different options for our movement speed. We can either move in 100ths, tenths, thousandths, or tenths of a thousandths. So we're going to go in our 10,000ths, and then we're going to select our X axis, and we're going to use our jog dial here to move our tool to where we want it to be. Now we are going to set our X first, so I'm switching to Y here. I hit my Y axis key to bring this up. Now I'm going to bring my Z down.
Now normally we do this with an end mill, or I meant to say, normally we do this with an edge finder, but Haas and no other dealers we've been able to find sell a 1/4 inch shank edge finders, so we're having to use an end mill here. So this isn't the 100% perfectly recommended way to do it, but this is what we have available to us.
On this machine.
Yeah, on this machine.
So I'm going to switch into thousandths mode right here now that we're getting close to our wall. And we're going to creep over here.
So this is just like what we've done with our other mills leading up to this.
Now you see I slightly touched my part there. So I'm going to go into my offset page, go to my work offset. We're doing G54. I'm doing my X axis.
So you got to that G54 there just by using those navigational arrows.
Yes.
Yeah, so G54 is that line right there. Okay.
And then we're going to go right here, part 0 set. And you see it changed that number right there. It was 4.5. Now we're at 4.613. Now our next step is we've touched off. We need to move over now in X half of our tool diameter to get our tool centered up right on the edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my Z axis button here. I'm going to switch back into the 10,000ths mode, and I'm going to bring my Z up.
So that when you step over, you're not crashing into your...
Right. And then I look here and I can see in my 54, I'm at 0. I got a 1/4 inch tool in there. I need to move 125 thousandths positive X.
Yeah, 1/8 of an inch, in other words. So moving in X value, moving over until you see right there in that yellow highlighted X area, 0.125. There it is.
And then we're going to go back to our X axis up here, make sure that's highlighted, part 0 set one more time, and now our G54 right here in X is 0. Now we're going to repeat this process in Y.
And in again. Are you moving in thousandths?
Yes, I switched to thousandths to creep up on my material until I see it start cutting barely. Right there.
Yep.
So now we're going to do the same process in our Y-axis, part 0 set. We're going to switch to our Z, 10 thousandths, bring it up, back to our Y, and then,
Step it in an eighth.
but we're going negative this time. And then we're going to go to our Y, and we're going to part 0 set. All right, now for our Z axis, we want this right here to read 0. So you can see your commands down here. You have add value or set value. We want to put a 0 by hitting our 0 down here, and we want to hit F1 to set that as a 0. Now, these machines, if you're making an incremental change greater than, I think it's a 1/2 inch, it's going to ask you, do you want to make this move? We're going to hit yes, and now we have our Z axis set to 0.
But you're actually gonna, you haven't actually zeroed it true to this block yet.
Correct. We're gonna, when we zero it, we're actually going to zero it now in our tool height offset. So we are going to go into our tool up here in the offset. We have
And
tool
that's a
1.
touch screen there.
Yes, this is all touchscreen. You can use the arrows or you can use touchscreen. So you can navigate through the arrows, but we want this tool page. And then we have tool 1. I just hit the down arrow to get to there. So now I'm going to get my Z or my tool over the high point of my part here.
So your handle jogging again.
Yep, we're in handle.
Okay. And this thing hasn't been faced off, so you can see here that, like, from this angle, it's a little bit higher on this side than it is that side. And so that's why we're gonna zero off the top of that higher point. So if we were using a more advanced mill, we would call up a facing tool to level this top off first. But since we don't have that option with this tabletop mill, we're just gonna level off the highest point, with the goal being that we're using a piece of stock that's as level as possible to begin with.
Okay, so you can see that we have touched our part here. Now we're going to come into here, and where we were using this part 0 set, we're going to use this right here. Tool offset measure in tool 1. So when I hit this tool offset measure, and I hit yes because I'm making a greater change, now it plugs in my compensation for that tool right there. So now we have our X and Y set, and our tool height is there. We're ready to begin running through our program.